Hey, 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 hey. The boy DC coming at you live on this Valentine's Day edition. And with our host, Renee Green. I'm just saying. Fun, but this holiday, where men are expected to buy chocolate and flowers and, tell romantic lies. Oh, I didn't mean to say that. Be romantic. I'm just saying, this one's going to be pretty much led by our book author, Little Miss Romance herself.
Oh yeah, right. That's
Renee Green is here as usual. Hey, Renee, it's great to be here with you today. Roses are red, dating is weird. hey, hey, today we're going to kind of touch on a Singles Awareness Day survival kit. Guys, just don't forget what kind of chocolate she likes, whether she likes chocolates or not, whether she prefers a plant to the flowers, and if it's a flower, make sure you get the right one because everybody doesn't like roses.
right.
I'm just saying, brother, you might find some good silk ones and just kind of put them away at the end of the season, bring them back next year.
There's romance for you.
All right, well, we about there we go. Hey, save that money. Yeah, talking about it going out to dinner and everybody has the same menu year round, but it costs you more
Yeah,
on Valentine's Day.
same exactly true.
Well, Renee, we're gonna let since you're the most romantic of us all sitting here at this table. We're just gonna, hey, y'all give her a hand as she starts us out. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you will hear just how romantic I am as we go through this. Alrighty. Yeah, so for a lot of people, Valentine's Day does not scream "I'm single" more than any other day. It's Single Awareness Day for so many people. It's also known as Discount Chocolate Day. Yes, all that fancy chocolate in those cardboard shaped boxes will be all yours for 50% off
There
on
we go.
Sunday.
There we go.
Woohoo! And God forbid you tune into one of those Hallmark channels where reality um, hides out, excuse me, amongst those reunited high school sweethearts being rekindled within the first 15 minutes. Although sickeningly sweet, yes, very sickeningly sweet, it leaves some poor some sap that they were already engaged to, alone, and very much aware of being single yet again. It's amazing how love comes and goes so easily on that Hallmark realm.
Yeah, because I remember when I'd be at work and the guys would be asked, "Well, what you getting your wife for Valentine's Day?" I said, "I hadn't planned on getting her nothing." And he looked at me. I said, "Man, we've been together over 20 years. What more can I get her? That she hasn't already had." I said, "Besides," they said, "What?" I said, "My anniversary's next month on the 4th. I got a lot of time to think about the one
There
that
you go.
counts."
Yes, that's right. Never forget that
There
anniversary.
you go. That was always more important. I mean, because the Hallmark Channel, at least for myself, it got to where I could recognize what the storyline was going to be by the actors,
Yeah, exactly.
you know.
Yeah,
And
it's the same thing.
yeah, all the
Over and
time.
over.
And they always end up back together.
Yes.
Somebody's got to chase the other one. And so the reality of it all is lying to us.
It is. It sets this beautiful picture that is so unrealistic that
Yeah.
nobody could measure up to it. And like I
No.
said, the couple that gets together in the first 15 minutes is already connected. This has some significant other in some form or another, and so that poor sap gets left behind.
That's it.
It's like,
Yeah.
wait a minute.
He was the trusting sap that let her go clean across the country to Vermont.
Exactly.
I mean, how much love are you finding in Vermont? I'm just saying, or she's going back home and she tells you, don't worry about it that my ex-boyfriend's there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
No
hey,
big deal.
yeah. You ain't got nothing to worry about. Then she doesn't call you, and now it's Christmas. You done messed out since February on Valentine's Day, and she's still not home at Christmas. Come on. Okay,
Oh,
I know I'm probably exaggerating, folks. Don't pay me no attention, but that's the way it feels. I'm just
well, I think you're spot on.
saying.
Hey, at least it's not a Lifetime movie.
There we go. It's definitely Lifetime. Good boy. Oh, we're not going to go there right now. All right.
Alrighty. Well, anyway, if you wake up on February 14th to roses and romance, congratulations. We're happy for you. Seize the day. It's all yours. I'm really genuinely happy for you. But if you woke up, rolled over, and your only Valentine was your phone charger tangled around your leg, then this episode's for you. So today we are celebrating the freedom, the chaos, the comedy, and yes, some occasional drama and trauma of being single. So let's just kind of dive into this. And like I said, it's the day that makes us more aware of being single than any other day of the year. Thank you. The day when we're playing dodge the heart-infested aisles at Target and any other retail icon. Playing the infamous eye roll at every elaborate display of affection. Avoiding any and all social media due to the sappy celebrations posted, new engagements, announcements, not to mention the hearts and flowers that bombard your screen like a strobe light. Social media on Valentine's Day is pretty wild. There's always that Instagram engagement Olympics type of.
Oh, yeah.
And and usually it's either a very drastic yay or nay. It's either he proposed in the midst of candles and rose petals and a violin quartet, or here's my cat, Geraldo. He's sharing my mozzarella sticks. So, anyway, we bombard ourselves with these unrealistic expectations, like we're talking about the Hallmark. Not to criticize Hallmark by any means, but it is your flamboyant Hallmark
And it really is, and it distorts it to such a degree.
It does.
It's like when we grew up and the dream was to get married, have the little white picket fence in the house. And if you watched Father Knows Best when you were a kid, the family always worked things out. Leave It to Beaver, even with that knothead, he always, and Eddie Haskell, they always seem to have this happy ending. And then life hits you in the face.
Yeah.
You may have started out with one of these,
Yeah.
that where it was all roses, burgundy wine, and all those things. And now, I mean, you guys can't drink a Coke together. It's gotten to be that disastrous. And I think it has a lot to do with how we commercialize what love's to be.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we have Stupid Cupid, and from the time that we're kids, we get those little candies that are hearts on Valentine's Day,
Yeah.
and we get to be mine. You had the little cards that that you give to the little girl who can't stand you, and
Now you're required to give them to everybody in the class.
that's it.
Aren't
Yeah, where you spent the whole year pulling her hair all of last year, and now you're forced to give her this little card with this heart on talking about be mine. Now you got to give it to everybody. And your parents are egging you on, so you spend the whole evening before trying to remember your classmates' names so you can put them in this card. And so it's just, I don't know. It's one of these things where it becomes sickeningly sweet.
Mhm.
you know, and it still leaves many poor expectations
Yeah.
that are kind of sappy. You know, I think
Yeah.
you said it right when you said kind of sappy, that she or he was, lots of them are already dating, have been dating, they're engaged, and they're only following this line of action because that's what tradition calls for.
Mhm.
And when she goes back to work or he goes back to work the very next day, well, what did he do for you? What did he get you on Valentine's Day?
Yeah. Nothing.
Yeah, you know, and so it I really love what you say here. Today we are celebrating the freedom, the chaos, the comedy, and yes, the occasionally the drama of being single. You
Mhm.
know, we're laughing, we're reframing, and we are absolutely buying the fancy chocolate without sharing. Now that's my thing right there. I like those cream filled ones, and I get a box of those, and baby used to look at it. She says, "Oh, you know, I can't eat that, but that's because I bought them for me."
There you go.
Yes,
That's
I
right.
mean, we should celebrate that. It's the day that makes us more aware of our singleness
Mhm.
than any other time of the
It
year.
it does.
And
Yeah.
that can be a trigger for a lot
Mhm.
of people. It
Yeah.
can be hard for a lot of people, you know,
Yeah.
to know that, hey, I gave my life, I gave this time to this person, and now they've walked away, or they're with someone else, or he cheated, or she cheated, you know, and
Yeah.
it's a time when it'll make you go buy a box of chocolates and sit down
Yeah.
by yourself,
Yeah.
you
And
know.
that's when you really need to just practice self-care. There's nothing wrong with being in a relationship with yourself, and taking care of yourself. And there's perks that no one talks about with being in a committed relationship with yourself. Just comedically, I guess. You
Yeah,
control the thermostat. No one steals your fries.
there you
And
go.
it's diagonally yours.
There you go. Yeah,
You can
that's
exercise.
one of the good ones.
Yeah.
I'm kind of partial to that fry one too, because
Yeah.
you got somebody, they say, "Baby, you want some fries?" No. And as time goes on, now she done ate up half your fries. Now she'll tell you, "No, I don't need any because I'll eat some of yours."
Right.
So buy the second one. Just buy the second one. That's advice from an old French fry eater. I'm just saying. But how do we conquer February the 14th?
Well, you know, first of all, I think the key is to let go of any expectations, um, and just like I said, self care. Take care of yourself, because it feels lonely. The reality of it is it feels lonely, and you're kind of asking yourself, "Where's my slow dancing in the kitchen scene?" That Hallmark paints such a beautiful picture
Hmm.
of. And that can sting, and it's okay to want that connection and to want that relationship, but it doesn't mean you're defective, um, because you don't have it. You're not a clearance item. Um, you're in a you're just kind of not in a waiting room, but you're just living your life. You're not um, defective. You're not anything other than just living your life, and um, it takes work and patience and self love to get through some of these holidays. But like you said, buy yourself the chocolates. Some things that you might do is mute social media for the day.
Yeah, because
Um,
social media
yeah,
is
it's
and
crucial.
it's influencer.
Yeah, it really is. And maybe no rom coms allowed. The week before and the week after February 14th. Or Hallmark movies. We keep bringing up Hallmark, but take yourself on a date.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
you know,
always a good one.
yeah, things like that. Just treat yourself like it's a self love day. Um, like I said, have a relationship with yourself. one thing that I think is kind of fun is to go someplace where it's fun to just kind of people watch. My
Yeah.
mom loves to go to the airport and just people watch because they're from all over the country and this and that. But rate couples PDA like an Olympic judge. That kid, 6.2, too much tongue, not enough commitment.
That's
You know,
it.
that kind of thing. Just find those fun little things that you can do with another single friend. But anyway, those are just some fun little things to keep in mind. So yeah, let's see. What else can we talk about here?
I was looking at I like the one that's order food with zero sharing expectations.
Oh,
That's right up my alley. I can buy myself a card. I know people, women who bought themselves flowers, had them delivered to work. Just be looking. I wonder who she got those from. Is she dating someone? Oh, I bet it's so and so. Oh yeah, girl. Yeah. And to sing and slow dance in the kitchen, getting your groove on in the club.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I was going to do this lightning round table. Which would you prefer?
Chocolate.
Amen. Rom-com or thriller?
Thriller.
Yes, for sure. Date night or blanket burrito?
Blanket burrito.
Fancy restaurant or picnic in the park?
I'd like to go to picnic in the park.
Weekend away or staycation?
Is it to the coast?
Anywhere you want.
Weekend away.
Okay, there you go. Home cooked meal or fancy restaurant?
Home cooked. Well, I know some people who can't cook.
Yeah.
No, but home cooked meal though.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine anyone that I've celebrated a Valentine's Day with being able to do a home cooked meal. But
Yeah, that's
taking your chances there.
yeah, but that's what makes it real.
Yeah, exactly.
When you go to the restaurant, when you look at the menu, pretty much everybody's having the same thing.
Yep.
It's going to be served in a hurry.
Mm-hmm.
You're basically on a time frame for your reservation because somebody else is going to need a table like an hour later. And now you went to the extent of dressing up, waiting in the line to be seated, driving to the destination, not being fulfilled in your meal is really not as romantic as you thought it was going to be. But she's trying to please you and you're trying to please her at the same time. And so you're sitting there, you've got your hands stretched across the table to each other, and both of you are saying to yourself, damn, wish we hadn't come here.
I wish I was at home on the couch.
That's it. Is it time to leave yet? But I don't want to discourage everybody though. That's one thing that we're not trying to do.
If that's your thing, more power to you.
Yeah, but it's like,
great.
Which is really more important?
Right.
Okay, the trademark of love or love itself.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point.
That's what it really comes down to. People is it, are you following the trademark or are you truly in love?
Yeah,
following your heart.
Yeah.
And that's the whole key, because love isn't confined to one day and just one person. As you said, it's your friendships, it's your family, it's even your dog, because my dog is a big part of my life. His name is Scooter. Don't call him dog. He's Scooter.
That's right.
Yeah, but he's a big part of my life. Yeah, and the little clicks that you hear. And at the start of our starting to begin this podcast, at the very beginning days, you'd hear his pet door going open and close, and then you hear him out there barking at his neighbor across the deal. Now he just walks across the floor nervously, wishing he could get up on my lap. Yeah, but it's like, what are we going to, how we are going to perceive how we are going to celebrate this day for those who celebrate. It's kind of like Cupid or stupid. You know, uh, sometime love feels like it's Cupid struck the mark. And I kind of believe that to a degree if it's a child's wish for love, or a that first love as a young adult, where you finally have a chance to experience that first love. But sometimes love feels like Cupid struck the mark, intentional, gentle, purposeful. But other times it feels like we handed our heart to impulse and then we called it romance, and I guess that also can go with lust, you know. But Cupid love listens before it leaps. It's patient, grounded, and grows with time. It sharpens wisdom instead of dulling it. And I believe that that's what we foolishly look for one day a year on Valentine's Day. The world lets you know how lonely you are, how alone you are. And you don't look at it from that perspective any other time of the year. Somebody had told me once, well, no, Christmas, you have family. You have family. Thanksgiving, you have family. Halloween, you only got your family, you got the whole neighborhood, community's kids. Okay? But on Valentine's Day, you're a loner. You're either a cast out or a survivor,
Right.
During that time. Where stupid love, which that pretty much accommodates and tells us the reasoning behind stupid love. Because we've been that loner. We're tired of sitting alone. We're tired of having people ask us, "Well, Renee, what did he get you for Valentine's Day? What did you do on Valentine's Day? Did you find someone to go out with on Valentine's Day?" You know, so it causes us to do stupid love, where it rushes, it ignores all the red flags which you talked about for us so much, and confuses intensity with intimacy. It asks the heart to decide without the mind or God. And I really like that, especially the red flags, because you have told us a million times, if you told us once, about recognizing red flags and yeah, not ignoring them. But Valentine's Day basically helps perpetuate the ignoring of it,
Yeah.
because we are subject to what our peers think, no matter what we say or how we act. When it comes to that day, and you can come, they cannot see you on Valentine's Day. They don't see you till the next day, or 2 days later. They're going to ask, "So what'd your honey do, or what did you do on Valentine's Day?" They don't ask about the facts and everything that took place for your Christmas. Just was, how was your Christmas? Oh, it was great, and so was mine. Okay, that's the end of it.
Yeah.
But Valentine's Day, we want to know particulars. Yeah, I, yeah, I want to know from that time he got with you, how he greeted you. Oh yeah, was it one of those real deep, sexy kisses, or did he just give you one of them pecks and say, "Let's go, baby"? He leaves out the door and door's still open and you have to close it. He go around getting the driver's side, he didn't even open the passenger side door. I don't know. It's
Don't see a ring yet.
that's it. That's it.
No ring to show his
That's it.
Yeah.
Man, y'all was drinking Boone's Farm bottled wine. Oh, that's it. Oh yes, people were having fun, but we're being real. And I can say this because we both had successful relationships, and we had those that we lost not because of our own choosing, and some that weren't quite so good,
Right.
you know. Uh, and it took us time to get where we are now. And I know you stress it a lot for us that nothing happens overnight.
That's right.
You know, even the world's greatest believers in whatever you believe in, uh, lasting change doesn't happen overnight.
That's right.
It just doesn't happen overnight. And I'm just so grateful for this podcast, and right now I'm asking people to follow. You need to follow us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know she has some more thoughts, so I'm going to slide out the way.
Yeah, well, one thing I want you to remember as we brave the whole new world of heart-shaped everything coming up this weekend, if you're single, you're not late, you're not missing out, and you're not less lovable because you're single on a random Tuesday in February. It's just a day, and if it's special to you, then celebrate you.
Yes.
Just celebrate you for who you are and what you've been through. There's a couple things that, in regard to trauma, because we do talk about trauma and abuse quite a bit in this show, and so I did want to just give you a couple little ideas if your emotions get the better of you during that time. Trauma plus Valentine's Day can whisper stuff like, I'm unlovable, I'm behind, I'll always be alone. But those are just fear stories, they're not facts. Trauma distorts your reality. You're still deeply worthy of love. And not only are you still deeply worthy of love, but you always were. And so I just really want you to hold on to that and just really, if you need to ground yourself, one trick that is really useful is name 5 things you see, 4 things you feel, 3 things you hear, 2 things you smell, and 1 slow breath. It sounds simple, but it pulls you back into your body really quickly, and so you kind of ground yourself in that. And honestly, there's something very powerful about surviving days that weren't designed with your story in mind. You're still here, and that's your strength, even if it doesn't feel glamorous. So just hang on to those things, and you are lovable, and you're worth it. So keep those things in mind and celebrate yourself.
Yeah, because it's like we look at the negatives
Mm-hmm.
so often in our lives. And I think it may be because people continually point them out to us.
That's true.
They continually point them out to us. But there are many victories. And I think for Valentine's Day, often Valentine's Day just takes into account or highlights romance. But its true victories run deeper than roses and cards.
Mm-hmm.
Valentine's Day, like today, should celebrate the quiet triumphs of love that reflect God's heart. I think we get caught up in the commercial aspects of it, and we forget that there are basically 4 main points that we should really remember as we go into this Valentine's Day. The first one is that love that chooses commitment. Victory is found when love stays through misunderstanding, through growth, and through change. And like it says in 1 Corinthians 13:4, love is patient and kind. Faith, love wins over fleeting feelings. Faithful love wins over fleeting feelings. 2, love that heals. Every act of forgiveness, every gentle word after hurt is a victory. Healing love restores what pain tried to steal. I want you people to remember that a healing love restores what pain tried to steal. The third one is love beyond romance. Valentine victories include friendships, family bonds, and self-care for others. Jesus showed us that the greatest love is sacrificial. And fourth, love that reflects Christ. The greatest victory of all is God's love for us, proven at the cross, because we are deeply loved. We are empowered to love others well. You know, if this should be what Valentine's Day is about. It runs along the lines of the love that chooses commitment, you know, not just there's many one night stands on Valentine's Day. And by that, I mean, you could have been with that person 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, or even more, and still have it be treated as a one night stand because they showed you no love throughout the rest of the year. You know, and especially in some of the situations that you had to run through and that people are still running through. But we want you to know that there is hope. You know, there is so much out there for you. We don't want to discourage you. And, you know, if you like the Hallmark Channel, well, you know,
Somebody's got to do it.
somebody's no, somebody does have to do it. You know, all right. And, you know, matter of fact, you know, after Valentine's Day, they probably start showing some of that Christmas stuff. You know, never know. You know,
Christmas in July will be coming soon.
there you go. You know, they never go to the beach. They always go to some farm or something, someplace, trying to rescue a candy shop. Yeah, you know, there we go. It's like, come on, people. But now back to we're just being, yeah, there we go. You know, I always send us down that hole. But yeah, um, you know, I just ask that the Lord will help us to see that love is not a holiday or a holiday feeling, that love takes work, and each healing moment is a victory. And
Everyday actions.
it's everyday actions, and it takes courage. But I don't want people to be blinded by the realities that are in front of them. You know, there are things that we see in our everyday life that should cause us to be a little more wary, be a little more conscious of how we're proceeding, you know, and I just think that we choose to ignore it a lot of times. And that's what gets most of us into the predicaments that we fall into with love. But it's like, okay, it can be all right because the Lord's going to help us that it will be. I did a devotional this morning entitled, and most of you can find it on Facebook, Cupid or Stupid. That's how we kind of started out here this morning. Scripture tells us, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. That's Proverbs 3:5. And it says, love has a way of bypassing logic. It can feel thrilling, affirming, and powerful, but not every feeling that feels like love is led by wisdom. That's where the question comes in. Is this Cupid or is this foolishness dressed up as romance? Cupid love is patient. It doesn't rush you get past discernment or pressure you to ignore what God is revealing. It brings peace, not confusion. It aligns with God's character, honoring faithful and selflessness. Stupid love, on the other hand, is loud and impulsive. It urges you to settle, to compromise your values, or to silence wise counsel. It often asks you to trust emotions over truth and desire over discernment. God never asks us to turn off our minds to follow our hearts. In fact, He invites our hearts to be shaped by His truth. When love pulls you away from God, diminishes your worth, or constantly leaves you anxious and uncertain, it's time to pause and pray. Real love, God's kind of love, will not cost you your peace, your identity, or your obedience. It will draw you closer to who God created you to be. And then it closes with a very simple prayer. It says, Lord, help me to recognize the difference between love that is led by you and love that is led by impulse. Guard my heart from deception, impatience, and fear of being alone. Teach me to love wisely, purely, and in alignment with your will. Fear of being alone. That is what captures most people. Nobody wants to be alone. And, I've heard it since my wife passed. I'm certain that you've heard it many times. Well, God doesn't want you to be alone. But He doesn't want you to be foolish in your selection.
Exactly. Right.
Just the foolishness of selection is what does us in most times. And especially sometimes you end up with another person who doesn't want to be alone, who's been alone for a long time. And you feel like this is just going to work. This is it. But we leave out the one main ingredient, God. And so my dearest Fred, I am so blessed by your presence and your wisdom. And I know that we're about to, you're going to start seeing us live. I don't know if y'all ready for this. That means I'm going to have to put on something better than this, huh? I'm trying to tell you, man, really what's going on. This being behind the scenes is really kind of cool. Yeah, well, we really want you to have a fantastic Valentine's Day, whether it be by yourself, like me and Scooter, but whatever it is, I just really pray that it helps you feel good about yourself. No matter what it is. I know we've kidded around a lot with Hallmark and all the different things, the chocolates and what have you. Yeah. Go to See's Candy, get yourself the best chocolate that you like. It's gonna cost you a penny, but hey, you're worth it. Okay. Go get what you want. If you want to, there's no law against you picking out a card for yourself. And signing it from me to you in 2026. There you go. Somebody who really knows what you like. That's it. If you want that big tub of cheese balls that I just finished one of them big giant ones. Oh, go get you another one. Get your fingers all orange. Oh, I'm just saying. But a closing thought from my dear friend.
Closing thoughts. Yes.
That was a good one. Yeah. Hey, I'm just saying, yeah. That was really great. It's where hope rocks. Until next time, have a blessed Valentine's Day. Stay safe and know that, hey, we love you, but you love yourself.